welcome to Community Spotlight by Goffstown Board. I'm your host, Casey Leach. This evening we're interviewing Budget Committee candidate Peter Grigorakakis. Hi, Peter.
Hey, thanks for having me.
Okay, let's be honest. How badly did I butcher your last name?
You actually did great.
Okay, but let's slow it down so all the voters know exactly who they're voting for.
Yes, okay, so it is Peter Grigorakakis.
Oh, see, I nailed it.
I thought you, did great.
And you're Greek, right? So we can
Very
say
much.
Peter the Greek.
Yeah, you cannot.
Oh.
There is another Peter who's Greek in town as well, so I don't want to take his spotlight.
Okay, so we'll just go with Peter Grigorakakis.
Yeah, sure, just
Okay. Well, Peter, how long have you...
too many Peter G's.
All right, Peter, how long have you lived in Goffstown?
So I moved to Goffstown with my family back in 2015. So it's been about, what? Goodness, 10 years?
Yeah, just about 9 years.
Yeah.
What brought you to town?
I have to be honest, it's kind of the same answer that I hear from every other person that I meet. That just says like, oh my goodness, like this town was just such a nice community. We knew the schools were great. We knew that, it has a nice village area. We knew it was close to places where you can go hiking. Basically, the same answer I hear from every other person that I talk to is my answer. So,
yep. All right, now why are you running for Budget Committee?
So actually, I have already served on budget. I forget if it was from 2017 to 20 or 16 to 19, but somewhere in there. And the only reason I didn't run a second time was because of my job at the time. Mm-hmm. So my job needed me to work evenings. And frankly, at the time, and I hope this isn't always the case right now, but we had an issue with people just being at the meeting. And I wasn't going to take one of those seats if I knew that at least half the time I wasn't going to be able to be at those very important meetings.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
All right. What experience or skills would you bring to the role?
So I think there are skills that I learned, obviously, being on Budget Committee. Yeah. I think I joked when I first ran for budget that I was like, well, year one, I probably won't be that great. But don't worry. You're voting for me for year three. Now that I have the rhyme, I should have actually used that as a slogan. But anyway.
Not too late.
No, but there's something that I learned when I was on Budget Committee. You ever played the game Connections?
I haven't.
Okay, it's a dumb little 16 box game with 4 words by 4 words, where you have to figure out what these words have a connection with each other. Now, what I noticed at work, we play this game just as a little warm-up for the day, just to get ready for the day, get our brain ready. Something that I noticed was that when we had more people in the room, we did better. Now, there's some games you don't do better at when you have more people in the room because there's too many voices. But in this particular game, you needed more perspectives. And that's something that I valued when I was first on Budget Committee. I made sure that I found time to listen to the people who maybe didn't speak as often, but I knew did their homework, right? Maybe in front of everyone else, they might not mention a lot, but I knew they were reading the minutes.
Yeah.
They were looking over the spreadsheets, and it's like, okay, I want that person's voice, even if I don't agree with it.
Yeah.
And I made sure that happened when we were on budget before, and I definitely make sure that will happen when I'm on budget again.
Yeah, it's a great listener. Sometimes the loudest voice isn't always the only voice we need to hear in these situations.
Agreed.
I love that. So there's a lot of concern among taxpayers that we need to be making fiscally responsible decisions. What does that mean to you?
Fiscal responsibility, huh?
Yes.
Oh, I hate that word, by the way.
I nailed it, I think.
Yeah. No, I don't. Okay, so here's the deal. When I said that the reasons I moved to Goffstown, one of the things you'll notice that I did not say was for the taxes.
Yeah.
Right? Because it is expensive. Goffstown, I'm not the first person to say this. It's not remarkable of me to voice this, but in case people don't realize, we have an issue in this community where essentially most of our funding comes from the homeowners and the people who use our services, right? We don't have a lot of commercial property paying the bill. So anything we need as a community, we essentially have to pay for. And that can be very hard when you get your bill every year and you see costs going up.
Of course.
So part of fiscal responsibility is knowing first and foremost who pays the bill. Okay, so when you're in a meeting and we're talking about things we want, which oftentimes we don't get to talk about in Goffstown, we can barely figure out how to pay for the things we need.
That's true.
You have to realize that your neighbor is the one that's going to pay for it. It's not going to be anyone else. There's no commercial property that's going to pay the taxes on that
carry the
doesn't have
burden.
kids. So that's one thing. But also you have to understand that you can't kick the can down the road. Okay? So if you're trying to save $1 here, but it's going to cost us a lot more money in, let's say, taking care of our bridges in the future, then you didn't save anyone money, right? So you have to think about all of those things and make tough decisions sometimes.
Speaking of tough decisions, can you give us an example of a difficult decision you made while you were on budget committee last time?
Yes. We were dealing with a budget that was going to go up by a good amount. It was, I think, my last year on budget committee. And I remember there was one item in particular that was hard for me to even want to bring up because I knew we needed this. I was talking about roads just a while ago. There was quite a bit of money set aside for roads that year. And again, the argument had been made why we need to invest all of this money here. And I was all for it in the sense of like, we need to do this. The problem that I saw was that there was change happening within the department that had to head that up. And the people that had made the plans for the road work that were going to do that next year weren't the same people that were going to be implementing it. So I had a huge concern. My concern was, we're going to budget for all of this, but are we going to be able to do this work? It needs to be done. This is work that needs to be done. It's only going to cost us more later. I get that. But are we going to be able to do this work this year? So I remember having to kind of push for that. I don't even think I won that argument, to be honest.
Okay.
But it was one of those things where I could sense people not being happy about me even having to bring it up, but saying, hey, if we budget for this, then it's in our budget. It's money that we're putting towards something that we're asking taxpayers to pay this year. And I'd love us to be able to do the work, but if we can't do it, we need to rethink this.
Yeah. So you're definitely not afraid of those difficult votes, those difficult conversations.
No, I'm not.
That's great.
I am afraid of people not being happy, I admit, but no.
All right, in your opinion, what's one of the biggest challenges Goffstown is facing right now?
So we already mentioned Goffstown is a town where we are residential property, okay? And we are getting our revenue from residential property. We're not getting money from the state. We're not getting money from any other source. Anything we need, we have to pay for. That's great. My biggest concern for Goffstown is that we have fatigue when it comes to that idea, and that we stop being creative where we need to be. Meaning, we kind of just give up on the problem. We say, well, that's the problem. There it is. We can't have things, we can't do things, we can't afford things. And we stop doing our work on our end, right? So when I'm sitting on budget committee, that I'm not saying, well, wait, where can we be creative? Where can I make sure I'm researching things and asking the right questions of my department heads so that they're thinking of creative ways that they can reallocate their resources, right? So hopefully we don't get too fatigued by the issues because it's getting harder. Every year as costs go up, it is getting harder.
Yeah, I love that. Why do you think voters should re-elect you to budget committee? Why vote for Peter?
Why vote for me? You don't like reading spreadsheets. I do. No, in all seriousness, anyone who has served on budget committee with me, I believe, will say I did my homework. Every meeting I showed up to, I had read the minutes. I had gone through the spreadsheets, as I joke, okay, and looked over the information that we needed so we could do the work. And also did the research so that my department heads knew when they came to present to us, Peter's going to ask some questions. I think that helps us before the meetings even start.
Yeah.
Because everyone's already prepared saying, okay, I can't go there tonight, and just kind of try to coast.
Anything else you want the community to know about you?
I have 2 daughters that are awesome.
Yes, they are.
Beautiful girls. Don't mess with my younger daughter. She might hurt you if you say the wrong thing.
Yeah.
Just know that in case. I love doing this work,
Yeah.
for sure.
And you just love Goffstown.
I sure do.
I love Goffstown.
I'm here.
That's why I'm here. Awesome. Well, thank you so much, Peter, for coming tonight.
Absolutely.
I'm sure we'll see you at Meet the Candidate Night on February 20th.
Yes.
And then I'm sure we'll see you at the polls on March 12th.
Absolutely.
Just like we hope to see you at the polls on March 12th. So remember to bring a friend, and we'll see you there.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.